Live from the Kraft Sports Complex in Jerusalem, Israel, welcome to this historic matchup between the U.S. and Belgium in open men's soccer, presented by Maccabi Media. This is going to be a fantastic outlook here as we have a very early start, 8:30 a.m., but in any case, we are so happy to be here bringing you this historic matchup of U.S. and Belgium. I'm Noah Friedman. This is Griffin Epstein. Griffin, we have had the unique pleasure of being with the Belgium and the U.S. teams on the bus, and the contrasting differences are something that I think we should talk about.
Yeah, well, the history of these teams is very different. The U.S. is looking for their third straight gold medal. The U.S. on the bus, quiet, composed, a quiet confidence, but they know the task ahead of them, and they know the goal is a third straight gold medal. For the Belgians, they were loose, they were loud. They know they have nothing to lose today, but a chance for a major upset to start their 21st Maccabiya.
So many unknowns between both of these teams at the moment. We don't know who's going to be starting for Belgium in goal, but we do know who's going to be starting for the U.S. in goal. And not only is he starting in goal, he was named a co-captain, Josh Levine. He's our 76 Capital player to watch.
Yeah, one of the most experienced players on this roster. He played 4 years at Penn State, had an excellent career with the Nittany Lions, and then just 2 years ago with Fordham, he was the starting goalkeeper and helped lead them to an A-10 title. They only lost one game all season in that spring 2020 year. It's going to be very hard for Belgium to get any goals past the outstanding keeper.
And with that, we are going to toss it to our sideline reporter, Zach Gershman, who's got more on both of these teams.
Thanks, Noah. You mentioned it. The Belgium national team, Coach Alan Yeager said, we're not going to be announcing a goalie yet. There is some familiarity with 6 returners onto the roster, but on the United States side, Coach Michael Erush said this is the tightest group of brothers he's seen on the field, and that kind of attributes to the organized blue-collar style. When he said he was recruiting his roster, that's what he was looking for in his players, and he's looking forward to contributing that to the field as you hear the whistles getting sounded, and we are ready to roll here on Maccabi Media.
Thanks so much, Zach. Appreciate that insight. And Griffin, before we get started here on the pitch, we have some very major key talking points. What do you have for both the U.S. and Belgium?
Yeah, keys of the game will start with the Americans. Zach mentioned it. Organized defense. This team's strength is in their defense. They really shouldn't even allow that many shots on Josh Levine. They need to convert on their chances. There are no listed strikers on this American team. How many offensive opportunities are they going to get? It may not be many. They're going to need to convert if they want 3 points. And it's controlling the emotions, lastly, for the Americans. This is a big match. We mentioned the high expectations. You've got to stay calm, especially if this is a close match late. For Belgium, you want confidence early. A fast start will key that. I think they have a good chance to control the possession. The U.S. is not going to look to do that. The Belgians can take advantage of that. And lastly, for the Belgians, embrace the unknown. With most of the players did get to practice at a pre-camp in Belgium, in Brussels, but there's a couple players that even came in just a couple days ago and have only seen their teammates for a few days, only got a few practices in, so they need to embrace the unknown because there's a lot of uncertainty, certainly for both teams, but especially for the Belgians.
Yeah, I'll even go so far, Griffin, as to say that the practice that the Belgians had was literally yesterday. That's the first time that those guys have suited up with one another. Alan Yeager talked about it when we had a nice Zoom call with him. He basically said that the squad started out with 8 players, then it was up to 13, and now the 20 players who came to Israel, they're going to be playing for the first time on the pitch.
And what's crazy, too, is Alan Yeager, who's the head coach of the Belgians, he was only 3 weeks ago officially signed on as the head coach of this open men's roster for Belgium. So everything has come together quickly for the Belgians, and, I mean, there's no better way to start it off, certainly facing against the 2-time defending gold medalist in the Americans. A challenge for any team, and certainly the Belgians.
We've just got a star-studded matchup here in Jerusalem Park between the U.S. and Belgium. The first game, the first match in Group A play, U.S., Belgium, Sweden, and Uruguay are the teams that are in this round-robin format. As the teams take the pitch and they are going to be at midfield and line up, we'll see if we get some anthems here before this match.
Beautiful day, too, for soccer. Obviously an early start here, 8:30 a.m. in Jerusalem. It's not too hot. What a beautiful location in this northwest Jerusalem Valley. Just over the hills is the West Bank. It's just a beautiful spot for a little early morning football. in this first game for both these teams in the 21st Maccabi on. Of course, the opening ceremony coming up tonight, so it's a big day for all of these teams. What a way to start.
Yep, you mentioned it, Griffin. 70 degrees at kickoff right now. Both teams going through their warm-up lines, shaking the referee's hands as well. We're going to get you some starting lineups here in just a moment as we point out some of the key U.S. players. We talked with head coach Michael Erush. He said that the team is going to be running a 4-3-3.
Yeah, and we mentioned it in the open. There are no listed strikers on this American roster, and Michael Erush talked about it. Our strength is going to be our blue-collar defense. Where the offense is going to come, that's a little uncertain, but he had confidence that they're going to figure it out. But especially this first game for both teams, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of unknowns, and I think for both sides, it's just a matter of staying confident, staying true to your craft, and you're going to have to build chemistry over the course of the game. I know the Americans have had a couple scrimmages in, and as we mentioned for the Belgians, this is only their second time as a whole team with all 16 of their players playing together.
And right before we went to that coach shot, we saw the captains meet at midfield. It's Michael Barron for the Belgians. It's Josh Levine, as mentioned, and Ohad Yahalom, the two co-captains for the United States.
Now, there's no shortage of experience on this U.S. roster. While no one's back from the 2017 gold medaling team, 7 of the 20 active players for the Americans have graduated from college back in the U.S. So a lot of guys with a lot of soccer, a lot of caps, and that's exactly what you want when head coach Michael Erush was building a team. Guys that can build chemistry early because there's a lot of leadership on this team.
Just about set here in Jerusalem Park for this kickoff between the United States and Belgium. Open men's soccer, Group A. This has been years in the making. Of course, we took a year off because of COVID-19. The original 21st Maccabi was supposed to take place in 2021, but here we go from Jerusalem Park with the United States in possession to start. It's Yahalom.
I think it was interesting, Noah, to see who were the guys that were going to start up top for the U.S. I'm not sure it's a huge surprise. Yoni Sorokin, who has more goals than anyone else on this U.S. roster, is starting up top. Matthew Radiofsky, the former Stanford Cardinal as well, has obviously played in the Pac-12 some big-time soccer. So those are going to be two of the guys I think you'd expect to try to put the ball in the back of the net. Alex Cades as well, who's a defender at Penn, the senior. Also, the 3 guys starting on that top line for the Americans.
Absolutely important for the U.S. to get off to a good start. They've had possession here to start in this first minute. At midfield.
The nice part about this match starting so early, Noah, is don't have to deal with the heat. If this was played more in the middle of the day, it'd be more of an issue, but part of why the organizers played this match so early to avoid the Jerusalem summer heat.
Yep, sun peeking out just over the clouds. This is Emery Rappaport with the header right there. Back over to David Mizrahi. And in possession now is Travis Van Brewer. And back over to the defender Noah Sonnenstein, who plays the long ball that goes back to a Belgian player, and it's headed back over to Bodie. The 1-2 now. And a nice through ball. And it's Radiofsky. And Mizrahi's shot is blocked in the box. And a chance that goes over the bar for Yoni Sorokin.
That was a nervy start by the Belgian defense. Didn't do a good job of clearing that ball away. And Sorokin got a good look at goal, but sent it well high.
So the first chance of the game goes to the United States. In goal for the Belgians is Levine, as he plays the goal kick that goes out of bounds near the near touchline. And so it'll be a U.S. possession.
Talked about the Belgians. It would really help to have a fast start. Not a great first couple minutes, but obviously a long ways to go here. But they were very light and loose on the bus. A lot of laughing, joking, music blaring, just trying to build some energy. But you want to control some possession early. Give yourself some confidence that you can play a full 90 minutes with the Americans.
Ball is skied in the air. Back over to Nazaz Zarmi, who plays the header. And it's back in the possession now of the Belgians. Ball squirts out near midfield. Zarmi, and now the Belgians can counter.
Toledano down the wing.
Yep, and the shot is blocked in the box And the first attempt for the Belgians is Ethan Esposito.
That's good stuff from the Belgians. Good run down the right side by Toledano, getting some space, and nice opportunity for a corner, set piece here for the Belgians. These are certainly, you think set piece is something you practice the most, and it's going to be really challenging with the few practices the Belgians have had to execute it properly. We'll see how they do on their first corner.
Yep, Esposito lining up in the far corner of the pitch. And here comes the kick. It's a low one. It's in, and it's gobbled up by Levine. So the first shot on goal for the Belgians coming here at the 4-minute mark of this first half. Emery Rappaport controlling down the near sideline. Back over to Yahalom, who plays a little 1-2 with Sorokin. U.S. moving very slowly into the midfield. The through ball comes in. And now it's Rappaport running down the sideline from his right back position. Ball is played through. And good defending there by the Belgians. And the ball is going to go out for a U.S. throw.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of that throughout this match. U.S. making runs down the flank, a lot of clearances by the Belgians. Alan Yeager wouldn't reveal much when we talked to him a couple days ago over Zoom on what his team's strategy would be. But I'd say in the first 5 minutes or so of play, we've seen a comfortability to just sit back and let the U.S. dictate possession early. I'm a little surprised, thought the Belgians might be a little more aggressive, but maybe that strategy changes a little bit deeper into the match when the Belgians gain more confidence.
On the ball now is Nathan Dehennen. Plays it upfield to Nathaniel Levy. And the ball was tried to play into Ethan Esposito, and he slipped a little bit, and Levine collects for the United States. U.S. trying to run a counter. Good ball in, and it's going to be ruled offsides. So Matthew Radiofsky, as you mentioned, the Stanford Cardinal, originally from Boulder, Colorado, made his run a little bit too early, and so it'll be a free kick for the Belgians in their own zone.
This is the first of 3 matches for both these teams now in Group A. Sweden and Uruguay are playing right next door to us, just right next to us here at this beautiful sports park on the northwest side of Jerusalem.
Yep, situated in the valley in the Judean mountains. Just an absolutely stunning picture.
The city is so beautiful, so many great views.
Cades tries to play it in, and good defending there by the Belgians. On the ball now for Belgians, and Dehennen goes down, but no call. Back comes the United States. Sorokin takes the shot from distance, and Zviv collects for the Belgians.
Dehennen got a little piece of that on the shot to help out the Belgian goalkeeper. Got to give credit to the Belgian supporters. They got here early. They've been making noise. They were giving us a little bit of a hard time before the match.
Yep, they've asked us many times for this YouTube link, so hopefully we get our viewership up.
And they wanted the full U.S. scouting report, too. They're locked in and ready to go.
Belgians on possession here in the near touchline. It'll be Scott Lichtenstein to throw in for the Belgians. Levy, Dehennen. Back out now, and here come the Belgians again on the attack with their number 9, Gary Hrskovisi. Esposito tries to make a man miss, and it's going to be ruled offsides again. So 1 offsides each on both of these teams. The U.S. will have their own free kick.
Think of the Belgians, such a proud soccer nation, and they just had their golden generation kind of come to an end lately, but had some great players come through in the last 15 years or so, led by Eden Hazard. He's mostly played at Chelsea.
Yep, Romelu Lukaku is another one. Axel Witsel is one.
Thibaut Courtois in goal as well.
Yeah, Thibaut Courtois. I mean, we talked about it 8 years ago. Yesterday, the U.S. played Belgium in the World Cup.
Today, actually.
Yes, today. They played each other in the World Cup.
Yesterday, if you're on the West Coast in the U.S., though.
True, exactly. See? Thanks for saving me on that one. Rappaport, Yahalom, long ball into the far side. And it was supposed to be controlled by the United States. And Ethan Homler, the midfielder from Melville, New York, goes to Binghamton, a rising senior there.
Not great touch so far by the American attackers, struggling to control a little bit, but kind of expected, as we mentioned. No strikers on this roster, at least, that played an attacking position in college. A lot of midfielders, a lot of defensemen. So a lot of guys not used to handling the ball off long passes, long balls.
U.S. on the run. And Cades with the shot, and it goes wide of the left post. I thought I'd heard a whistle, Griffin, but I guess that shot's going to count.
Yeah, it will. That's a tough angle for Cades, but a good run. He's moving to his right, tries to use that right foot. He's got such a narrow window to try to get it around the Belgian keeper and that post, and couldn't convert.
Take another look at it on the run, and Cades just misses that left post. Back to gameplay now with Sorokin. A nice backheeled flick to Cades. Good block there, and another throw going to the United States.
Mentioned offensively, Sorokin is the guy to watch. 4 years at UCF, 1 year at UCLA, two-time American Conference Midfielder of the Year. Talented offense.
This is a great chance for the United States. Aviv with a great block, and then again. Excellent denial by the Belgian goalkeeper, as David Mizrahi was the one who got free in the box. We'll take another look at the great play by the Belgian keeper.
Yeah, what an incredible stop. That was a golden opportunity for the Americans. All alone, not one but two. Able to come up with it. Didn't even know who was going to start in goal for the Belgians. Their anticipated starting keeper had an injury, couldn't even make it here to Israel.
Yep, that's right. And one of the midfielders also for Belgium unable to attend. And their number 10 also not in the squad.
Sometimes that's what you want as a keeper, I think, early to make one of those big saves, really get you woken up, get you energized and confident. Certainly the Belgians get that early.
Rappaport tried to play the through ball to Radiofsky. Good defending by Dehenin. Bodie Saul trying to break up that Belgium 1-2. Ball is skied in the air, and it's pushed back by Liechtenstein. Now on the ball is Levy. Tries to clear, and the U.S. getting pressure whenever they want to. They've earned so many throws here in this first 11 minutes.
A lot of clearances by the Belgians now in this first 10 minutes. I think we're gonna try to see counterattacks by Alan Yeager. That's going to be the strategy for the Belgians. But the Americans are content, I think, to build from the back, have a lot of possession, and with all the strong defenders on this back line for the Americans, they're going to be patient. Long way to go here.
U.S. playing the ball in the far end of the field. Back up to Yahalom. Rappaport. A lot of touches here. And it's Cades. Back up to Rappaport. And plays it back to Sonnenstein. Sonnenstein back over to midfield to Zarmi. And now it's Van Brewer on the ball. Van Brewer playing a little 1-2 with his teammate. Cross comes in. Cades, once again. Low cross and good defending. Rappaport now in the box. And another good header for Belgium as they try to clear. Still not out of it just yet is Bodie Saul.
That was really good, though, by Cades. And an excellent opportunity for his teammate potentially to header that into the back of the net.
Van Brewer, the Tufts alumnus, plays it back up as the U.S. reset.
Americans winning a lot of these 50-50 balls early.
Here comes Sonnenstein. Over on the right, back to Rappaport. Back up to Sonnenstein once again. Seems like we've got a little bit of break in the action, so we're going to toss it over to our sideline reporter, Zach Gershman, who has a little bit more context. Zach, what do you got?
Thanks, Noah. I just find it very interesting. We talked a little bit before the game with our keys to the game about how the U.S. needs to play organized defense, blue-collar defense. But they've been on the attack a lot this game, as you see right here. Something else worth pointing out, Alex Cades, we saw him miss the shot a little bit wide to left. He's got some familiarity with this roster. He's got a Penn teammate along with him on this U.S. squad. On top of that, 2 other members from the Ivy League, so there is some Ivy League ties to this open men's roster.
Yep, you mentioned the teammate Jacob Muchnick, who did not get the start today for the U.S., but we might see him in action later in this match. Sorokin, back over to Cades. Cades ground cross to Radiofsky. A long shot goes over to Zarmi, and easy for the Belgian keeper to smother that one.
Think about the Ivy League players, too, have to be so grateful to be out here playing. The Ivy League was the only Division I conference in the NCAA in America to not play a season, so those players play soccer with COVID out for about a year and a half.
Yeah, when we were going through our board, a lot of the players that we were trying to feature, they literally didn't have seasons because of COVID-19.
A lot of these guys just graduated, so their college careers interrupted. This is a great way to keep your soccer career going, especially for guys looking to play professionally. A way to make your name for yourself on an international sporting competition. Doesn't get much bigger than that. You're at the second biggest international sporting event in the whole world.
Here comes the U.S. in a very long attempt, an optimistic effort, if you will, by Radiovsky. Goes over the bar here in the 14th minute.
That chemistry certainly helps when you have a couple guys from the Ivy League, similar style of play, a couple teammates. A bunch of guys as well from the West Coast, a lot of Bay Area, LA guys as well on this American roster. So plenty of guys that are familiar with each other.
The DNA is very West Coast based and very Northeastern based, but there have been players from all over the United States on this roster.
Michael Lerush, the head coach for the U.S., of course, as well, is a L.A. native. Cal State L.A. was just named the head coach in the offseason, and his assistant coach last year won the Division II National Championship. So he's got plenty of accolades on his resume.
Erush is also a Maccabi alumnus as well. He started for the U.S. Open team in 2005, winning a silver medal at the Maccabi. Sorokin trying to weave through a bunch of Belgium defenders. Yahalom. Back up now to Van Brewer. U.S. getting into the Belgium zone here. Back up to Sorokin at midfield. Sorokin playing the long ball to George Bodie Saul. Told us he did not like being called George. He goes by his middle name, Bodie. It shows. He said George was a pretty old name. And the U.S. lost possession, and Belgium gets it back. Rappaport wins the ball now for the United States. Sonnenstein over to Yahalom. Yahalom tries to play it inside to Radiovsky, and it squirts through for an easy Belgium possession.
That finishing touch still for the Americans, still trying to find it. Belgians have done an admirable job, though, defensively. They've been organized on the back end. You really think that one chance for Zarmi was the only real breakdown by the Belgians.
Running through, it's a quick free kick. Here's Bodie Saul in the 18-yard box. Plays it back out to Rappaport. Rappaport sets. Cross comes in. Good header away by the Belgians. Herskovisi, the one who clears the ball for the Belge. So Sorokin's going to take the throw from the far side. Back now to Zarmi. Van Brewer. Cross coming in. Nobody home. And it's Nathaniel Levy who is on the ball now for Belgium. Poor cross, Rappaport. And now Belgium can have their first real counterattack of the game here with Dehenin. Dehenin tries to thread the needle, and it's Levine who has to come out and play the long ball back for the United States.
Great awareness by Levine. Looked like the Belgians could have a good counterattack, as he said, Noah, but good awareness by the goalkeeper to come well out of the 18 to clear it.
Michael Barron, the Belgian captain, just played that long ball to Yaniv Toledano. Sorokin back over to Yahalom. Yahalom over to Bodie Saul. Saul back to Yahalom now in the United States setting, and Belgium treating back in defense. Van Brewer. Mizrahi over to Saul, who's been playing that right wing position. He is a midfielder at the University of Michigan. Radiovsky. And now another clearance by Belgium right near our camera crew.
That was one bounce away from coming up to us. See if we're awake yet.
And it looks like there was a foul called as well on the United States, so it'll be a free kick for Belgium. No bookings just yet. 18th minute here.
was a bad giveaway, though, right outside the 18 by the Belgians, and one especially vocal Belgian was yelling quite loudly in German.
Something a little bit interesting I want to point out to you guys. Ohad Yahalom, we spoke a little bit about Josh Levine being one of the captains, Ohad being the second captain. If you catch him on the defensive side, he's been pointing out directions. He's really assumed that captain role. Coach E-Rush talked about how he's been very vocal, and you're able to see that on the field as he's pointing out to players like Bodie Saul, move down the right side, and that's exactly what's happening. It's why they've been putting pressure on the Belgium team.
And this is kind of a home field action for Yahalom, who was born in Modin, which is just outside of Tel Aviv. And he played his soccer in the States, went to Dartmouth, Brookline, Massachusetts native. His brother Amir is actually on the U16 soccer team as well. So a lot of family ties here. And it's not just for all of the soccer programs, it's also for every Maccabi program. It seems like there's so many connections with family members and friends. We're going to illustrate a lot of them here on this broadcast. While we were talking, Belgium won a corner kick yet again, their second of the game. Ball's played in. And the shot comes in for Herskovisi, and it's Levine who sprawls out and makes the nice save for the United States.
Looked like that ball was going to go wide of the post, but Levine not taking any chances. That was the best opportunity so far of the morning for Belgium.
Back on the counter come the United States. 1-on-4 at the moment. Ball comes in. Good defending by Belgium. And it's going to go out for the first United States corner of this match.
As the Henin with the clear. Good run down the flank. And the Americans with a counter of their own. A lot of speed on both of these teams.
And it looks like it's going to be Travis Van Brewer to take the corner for the United States. Van Brewer, as mentioned, Tufts alumnus, midfielder, 5'7". He's got a pregame superstition of tying his shoes in a very unique way. Van Brewer with the left-footed cross in, and it's cleared nicely by the Belgians. Back over to Alex Cates.
How does he tie his shoes in an interesting way, Noah? Do we know?
I never got to ask him fully in depth.
Should have kept a closer eye on him on the bus, I guess.
That's right. Bodie Saul's attempt is blocked away, and it's going to go for a United States throw. Another fun fact about Van Brewer, he's going to be working in Boston in software strategy once this is all said and done.
Well, they don't allow you to tie your shoes in a weird way there, so I guess he's going to have to end his tradition.
Another throw comes in for the United States here with Emery Rappaport doing the honors. Back over to Radiovsky. Rappaport plays it out to Sonnenstein, and the United States treat back. Belgium trying to put on the defense with their number 13, Ethan Esposito. The ball is squirted out, and it's played back now for the United States.
I think the real question I have is, do you tie your shoes, do you tie one shoe before you put on the other shoe, or do you put both shoes on and then tie both of them?
No, that's strange.
That's strange?
No,
okay.
That's strange. You go sock, sock, shoe, shoe if you want to put it on that way.
Very important for a soccer player, too. There's nothing more important than the feet.
Exactly. Want to make sure those cleats are tight. Radiovsky lost it. And back now comes Belgium. That ball finds the middle of nowhere, and it's Rappaport who collects it for the United States.
That's probably a relic of these players only having one practice so far in Israel. There's not a lot of communication or players on the right page.
Another chance here for the United States. Bodie Saul trying to run in space, and it's chased down by Thomas Madalar playing defense for Belgium. Belgium still hadn't quite cleared it, and now they finally have full possession here at the 22-minute mark. Esposito back on the ball, tries to get it to the near side with Levy. Back over to Scott Lichtenstein, who plays it back into the United States zone. Lichtenstein finding Esposito, gets taken down by Sorokin, and the caution's going to come in for Sorokin. The Belgian fans are not very happy with that challenge. It'll be a free kick in a very nice position for Belgium.
And an excellent acting job done as well by Esposito. He went down rather easily there and held the ankle as well to boot.
No bookings just yet. That was a caution. And it's going to be De Gea who's going to take the free kick for the Belgians.
It's a tantalizing spot.
Dehaena tries to curve it in and nobody home. Levine, an easy save right there.
Mentioned it before. The set pieces, I think, are what develop most when you have time to practice. It's going to be very hard for the Belgians. We've only had one practice together with everyone here in Israel. Most of the players were in Belgium, but a few of the guys had to come from UK, different spots in Europe, the US.
Yep, that's right, and another player from Paris as well. Bodie Saul goes down in the box, nothing doing, no penalty, and Belgium back on the counter. Rappaport wins the ball from Levy.
That looked like the right decision from the referee. I saw all ball on that.
Yeah, it seemed like a very good tackle.
You got to be absolutely sure if you're the referee on a ball in the box to call a penalty, especially how cagey this match has started early. I don't think we're going to see a lot of goals today.
Yep, we're taking a look here at the penalty or not penalty. Saul winning the ball and then diving into the box, and Dehaena definitely looked like he made a very clean tackle. Back now with game action with Levy. Over to Lichtenstein. Lichtenstein nutmegs Yahalom, but nothing doing on that attack. Bodie Saul plays it in. Nice jukes, and he's got a little bit of space, but he loses possession. Lichtenstein back over to Dehaena.
Touch just a little too heavy from Saul, but man, what a nice little 1-2, not once but twice, to get some open space.
Nadav's Army was on the ball just now. And it's going to be Mizrahi who plays it for the United States. Sorokin, as you mentioned, one of the veteran presence on this team. Used his COVID year to play soccer at UCLA, a very esteemed program.
And all 19 starts for the Bruins. That spring 21 season.
This is Saul, who plays the left-footed attack, and it's going to go right of the post.
Fall 21 season, for UCLA. But you find a guy 17 career goals, 16 assists. That's more than anyone else for the Americans.
And Saul, as we mentioned, one of the Bay Area natives. He's from Menlo Park, California. Beg your pardon, Los Gatos, California.
Those are right next to each other.
Yeah, I feel like every single Bay Area city is situated right next to each other.
That's not true, but we're going to have a hydration break here halfway through this first half, Noah. And I'd say a pretty cagey start by both sides, still feeling each other out. Obviously, the Americans have dominated the possession early, but the Belgians have seemed pretty comfortable. And outside of really one golden opportunity for the Americans, Belgians have been well organized defensively. I think they've gained some confidence, a couple of counterattacks, and it's been pretty comfortable so far for the Belgians. I think for the U.S., just working on that final touch, that was one of our three keys for the Americans. Haven't seen very good touches so far early for the Americans, especially in the box, and really just that one good look on the Belgian goalkeeper. And if you're Michael Erush right now in that huddle, you just got to say more of the same. Stay patient right now. Do not rush. And you also have to, know you can be aggressive because you have the good defenders behind you. You have a really talented goalkeeper in Josh Levine if there is a counterattack by the Belgians. But I would say we don't have any official stat keeping here at the Maccabiah, but I'd say about 65-35 probably possession to the Americans.
And it just goes to show this is the first match, as we mentioned, in Group A of this 2022 Maccabiah men's Group A soccer matches. And the possession, like you'd mentioned, it seems like there hasn't necessarily been that much of an identity. It seems like it's been a little bit sloppy in terms of everything that's been going on. But as we move along here in this match, we'll have to see how the identities of both of these teams shake out. When we talked to Erush a couple of nights ago, he'd mentioned the fact that he says that his players say that he's intense, but in a positive way. He also says that he's sensitive, he's quiet, he's all behind the scenes. It was a massive undertaking to get this roster to where it needed to be, and now finally, after months of training and a couple of team meetings and some practices in Israel as well, they're finally here, and the Maccabiah has officially started. Back now after the hydration break, it's Sorokin. has a couple of teammates. Radiovsky can't get to the ball in time as he runs into one of the nettings in the wall, and it's going to be a Belgium goal kick.
Another ball a little too heavy. It's an interesting task, Noah, for a U.S. head coach, Michael Erush, who's in his first year as the head coach of the Maccabiah U.S. Open team, though, as you'd mentioned, he's been a head coach in the Maccabiah before, 2009, 2015. 2017 was the Masters 35+, but especially at this level, the Open division, you're picking the best Jewish soccer players in the U.S. There's a lot of players to choose from. He said he had about 60 try out from all sides of the country, and you want to find a balance between different positions that fit the team, experience, guys that fit your mentality, and guys also that you know are healthy, and colleges will come and let them play. Of course, there's not a lot of time in between this Maccabiah ending in late July and the season starting for D1 soccer starts in late August. So some colleges might say, hey, no, we need them to focus on the college season, don't want them to come over to Israel. So really difficult task for head coaches to make all these big choices on who you want on this roster. Especially when it's been 5 years, too. You don't have returners to pick from. Most of those guys a little bit older now, so with all that time in between, you've got a brand new roster to sort through, and when you're a head coach, new head coach, too, you don't have the same connections with your players.
Here we are at minute 27. We're still goalless between the United States and Belgium, open men's soccer, or football as it's called back in Europe and Belgium.
And Israel.
And Israel as well. Thanks to everybody, by the way, who's tuning in from the United States, from Belgium, from around the world for this historic Maccabi USA broadcast. Cross is played in, and it's Sorokin! And he's going to get credit for that goal. We'll have to take a look at the replay, but the United States has jumped on the board early. It's 1-0 United States.
A great run, really out of nothing for the Americans, and we talked about Sorokin. He's the most dynamic scorer on the Americans, and an excellent header into the bottom of the net. The Belgian keeper got rather lost. And Sorokin, all he got was just a slight flick of the head on it, and that was enough to put the Americans in front.
You know what that goal reminds me of? When you're watching a hockey game and there is a player in the crease trying to block the goalkeeper's vision. That's exactly what Sorokin did right there. The 5'11 midfielder, as we mentioned, the UCLA grad as well as UCF. He's actually from Jerusalem originally and has since made his home in the United States.
He's looked really comfortable throughout this match, Noah, and he's rewarded with the first goal of the Maccabiah for the U.S.
And Michael Erush talked to us about it. Who was going to score goals? How are the goals going to be produced? Well, we just saw it right there, a beautiful cross in, and Sorokin was the one who gets the United States on the board first.
See if that maybe changes the Belgian strategy a little bit, if they're a little more aggressive. One goal in, obviously still well early into this match, only a half hour in. But you're going to have to get a little more aggressive if you're head coach Alan Yeager, now knowing you're a goal down. You want at least 1 point to take away here in this opening Group A match. Sweden and Uruguay, the other two teams, playing right next door.
Yep, they'll have an 11 a.m. kickoff here in Israel.
The top two will advance into the quarterfinals, or the round of 16, I should say. There's 16 teams competing in this open men's soccer group in Jerusalem. That's more teams than any other competition in the Maccabiah. 16 countries playing the world's game.
Long ball and Sorokin not able to find the possession there. Belgium will win themselves a goal kick. And it's very interesting to note, too, that there are 42 disciplines in the Maccabiah this time around, and the U.S. delegation comprising of 1,351 athletes, hospitality, coaches, whatever it may have you.
How about that's the largest U.S. representation in any sporting event ever.
And every single person will be marching tonight at the opening ceremonies in Jerusalem at Teddy Stadium. That is a 7 o'clock start, and you can watch that on Maccabi USA's website. Maccabi World Union will be streaming that.
That's going to be so much fun for all these players, us, so many people getting to experience hearing your country's name called and walking out to thousands of supporters. We got to walk around Teddy Stadium, outside of it a little bit yesterday, Noah. It's a gorgeous stadium on the south side of Jerusalem. And expect quite the festivities this evening. And, of course, there's going to be a lot of luminaries in the building as well. The Prime Minister of Israel and the President of the United States will be in attendance as well. I believe that's the first time in Maccabi history that's happened.
The long ball was broken up there by the Belgian defender, Thomas Madelaar. Yep, like you mentioned, Joe Biden is going to be in attendance at the opening ceremony, and so will Israel Prime Minister Yair Lapid. 31 minutes gone here, especially after that hydration break.
Biden is expected to meet with members of the U.S. delegation. We don't know who, but certainly the flag bearer and the flag carriers, there's about 10 of them, would make some obvious choices. Some of the most acclaimed U.S. athletes in the game today.
There's a little bit of confusion about where the ball was supposed to be thrown into by Liechtenstein. He was trying to go down the touchline, and they told him to go back. Levy and Rappaport, they collide with one another, but the United States is out in front. A 1-2 with Mizrahi and Radiovsky, and a nice win for Yaniv Toledano. Toledano back up to Dehena. Over to Toledano, who's working on the far side of the field. Toledano. Header comes through, and Sorokin plays it right at midfield. Over to Rappaport. And it's played through to Van Brewer. Yahalom, excuse me. Yahalom with the long ball over to Cades, who has it in the right corner. Cades playing it back out. This is Van Brewer now, tries to play the cross into the box. And good clearance by Levy and the rest of the Belgian crew. Rappaport back on the ball for the United States. Ground pass comes in. And he was taken down, but Radiovsky is able to emerge from the pile. Sorokin tries to play the through ball. Cades, and that shot goes wide of the left post, but it was trying to bend in, didn't get it enough curve, and a Belgian goal kick is going to ensue.
Sorokin right at the heart of this U.S. attack once again. He's not the captain, but he is clearly the focal point of this U.S. offense, and just a tough angle there for Cades. That's his second shot of the game.
And fifth on target for the United States as well. And just a reminder that this soccer match between the United States and Belgium is brought to you by 76 Capital. 76 Capital, shaping the future of sports. Dehena back over for Belgium. Saul trying to close in. Good pressure. And it looks like it's going to be a whistle, and it's going to be Belgium who will win themselves a free kick. That was one of the first times, Griffin, that I've seen the United States play a lot of pressure defense, but it was a little bit too over-aggressive there on that free kick.
Yeah, I don't think Michael Erush's goal is to be the most physical team. He wants more of a patient, well-organized team. Not necessarily a lot of fouls. We haven't seen many by the U.S. so far in this game.
Mizrahi playing it back for the United States, trying to lead some people forward. Rappaport, who has by far had the most touches in this match, and plays it back out to Noah Sonnenstein.
With the amount of pressure, too, from this U.S. offensive attack, you don't need a whole lot of pressure defensively. You're comfortable to sit back and let the Belgians, when they have possession, try to do something with the football.
Sorokin, the goal scorer, hands it off to his teammate Yahalom. Ground pass comes into Saul. Saul looking, has a bit of a mismatch with two Belgian defenders closing in. And it's Yahalom who has the ball back. Ball is played through. And now back out, and Cades goes down and is holding his ankle. And a foul was whistled on Belgium. Getting back up now is the Pennsylvania man. As we take a look at the replay on the foul. Cades walking it off a little bit. He should be good to go. Cades, as we mentioned, 5'8" senior, Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. Plays at Penn. This is a guy who had to work his way up all the way from his D travel team, and Sorokin puts it through on the cross, and he's got his second. It's a brace for Yoni Sorokin, and the United States in the 36th minute goes up 2-0 on Belgium.
Once again, Sorokin unmarked in the box, a mistake by the Belgians, and what a start for the UCLA Bruin. 2 goals in a span of 10 minutes, and the Americans a comfortable lead. What a beautiful header by Sorokin. Got free, the Belgians left sleeping again, and beautifully angled into the corner.
And I'm not sure if you guys heard, but Josh Levine went right up towards the center line and started barking instructions towards Yoni to go towards the back of the net, and that is exactly what happened that set him up for the header. You mentioned that he might not be the captain, but he's been the focal point when it comes to scoring, but it's because of the captains like Ohad and like Josh Levine that are setting him up for goals like that.
Yeah, we were talking with Coach Alan Jaeger of Belgium, and he was talking about how tactically Belgium would win this match. The United States, very blue-collar, and they have really shown their true grit here in these first 37 minutes of this match.
And you need that encouragement if you're Sorokin, because he's typically not an attacker. He's a midfielder. That's where he played all 5 years of college. But you have a leader like Levine, as Zach said. What an excellent observation. Your captain telling you, push up, be confident. You've really controlled this game. You've been the best player on the pitch so far. And with a little encouragement, a little confidence boost, that's all Sorokin needed. Help give a 2-0 lead to the Americans.
Belgium trying to get it out of their own zone, and they can't do so. It's Sorokin. Tries to play it in, and it's a good clearance from Belgium. Sonnenstein back on the ball, the El Dorado Hills, California native, UC San Diego. And it's Van Brewer. Back over to Mizrahi, tries to gain position. Mizrahi is going to take a shot from well outside the box, and it's collected easily by the Belgian keeper. '38th minute now at Jerusalem Park in Jerusalem. Just an absolutely beautiful day here for this incredible soccer match. As we mentioned, 8:30 a.m. start, bright and early. The United States out with a 2-0 lead.
We had some rare cloud cover this morning when we woke up.
I did notice that.
You don't see clouds too much in this part of the world, especially this time of year.
Well, we are at a higher elevation as well. That probably plays into it.
It's a little bit cooler here than the coastal cities. Tel Aviv, Netanya, which is one of the main centers for the Maccabi games. The youth U18, U16 players are playing up in Haifa as well along the coast. So obvious handball there.
A clear handball by Madalar, and it's going to be taken advantage of by Radiovsky anyway, and the United States has itself a 3-0 lead. A clear handball by Madalar. Play was not stopped, and we might have a little bit of a deliberation here to see if maybe the foul was called beforehand, but it looks like the goal is going to stand, and Radiovsky gets himself on the board.
Yeah, Madalar gets a yellow card for an obvious handball trying to stop the goal, but you play advantage there. If you're the referee, let it keep on going. Another breakdown on the back end by the Belgians, and Radiovsky puts it away. Some frustration, too, by the Belgian keeper. He wished he could have made that save. He made a really good save early, around the 50th minute, to deny the U.S. of a goal, but all of a sudden the floodgates have opened for the Americans. 3 goals in under 15 minutes as they take a commanding lead here in this first half.
You could not have scripted this better if you're head coach Michael Erush.
Kind of like a feeling out process for the first 25 minutes, and the Americans have now inserted their will and dominance on this game as we head towards the halftime break.
Mizrahi back over to Van Brewer in the United States zone. Cades tried to win the ball and goes down, and it's going to be a foul on Belgium. 40th minute now, United States up on Belgium 3-0. Yahalom back over to Sonnenstein. Gets it to Nadav Zarmi. Zarmi tries to play it through. Nobody home. Mizrahi was the intended target. And it's going to be Belgium who just let the ball roll out. Hershkovisi is going to take the throw in for the Belgians.
Radiovsky's another guy, was a defensive midfielder for the Stanford Cardinal, and doesn't have a lot of experience scoring goals. He didn't have a goal in his collegiate career. Had two years of appearances with Stanford, but he showed an excellent finishing touch there to give the U.S. their third goal, and still 5 minutes left to play here in this first half.
And it's just funny looking up his background. He originally was an ice hockey player. He decided to pursue soccer instead because he wanted to go to Stanford. And seems like that's been the right decision so far as he's representing the United States in the Maccabi.
It's a good choice. You get one of the best schools in the whole world with Stanford, and you get to play sports. I'd make that choice too, though. Maybe if the American ice hockey team really needs him, maybe he suits up a little bit later if he has Michael Erush's blessing to get on the ice. American hockey team had a resounding win yesterday over Israel. Open up their hockey tournament.
The women you're talking about.
Oh, the men had a resounding victory as well.
That's also true. Very good point. United States back on the counterattack with the latest goal scorer, Radiofsky. It's a good touch by the Belgian defender, and it's the United States possession.
How about the women? Yeah, 11-0 victory. That was the first ever women's ice hockey game in the Maccabi.
Yep, we'll definitely be covering some of their games as well. And
the
literally
gold medal match we're slated to call. It's towards the end of the Maccabi.
Sorokin tried to play it into Mizrahi, and the play is blown dead because of offsides.
Sorokin, little offsides, past the Belgian line.
Sorokin has been everywhere in this first half, the true MVP. Nice. 2 goals. He's just played a nice brand of soccer.
Yeah,
football.
He's been the central point. He's been aggressive. Mentioned Levine encouraging to get forward. You're right. Clear best player on the pitch early for the Americans, and the Belgians have had no answer. No one has been able to mark up against them in the box.
Dehaena tried to play that ball through, and a stalwart defensive effort by the United States as they can start another counterattack. They stop it momentarily, and that's going to be the final whistle of this first half. The United States coming out very aggressive early. They got goals from Yoni Sorokin and Matthew Radiofsky, and that is going to do it in this first half. It's 3-0 to the United States with 45 minutes down and 45 minutes to play here at Jerusalem Park. We're going to take ourselves a quick break and come back with more second half action right after this. Welcome back to this presentation of Maccabi Media's game between the United States and Belgium Open Men's Soccer. We're going to go down to our sideline reporter, Zach Gershman, who has U.S. head coach Michael Erush.
Thanks, Noah. Very interesting first half, Coach. You kind of switched the dynamic from the organized blue-collar defense to being on the attack for the majority of the first half. What kind of went into that shift in the dynamic?
Yeah, so for us, getting three chances in the first 10 minutes was what we were kind of wanting to execute. We went a little more attacking-minded. We were balanced in transition. Really proud of the group. So the challenge is going to be to continue this and keep the clean sheet.
What did you tell your team at halftime?
Psychologically, be focused, be dialed in. We don't want to commit silly fouls. We want to get out of this game in one piece and focus on Uruguay, but we still have 45 minutes.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Zach. Appreciate that, and thank you to Coach Erush as well for joining us here at halftime. We're going to take a look here at the first half highlights presented by 76 Capital. And we're gonna tell you about our sponsors here, 76 Capital, which is shaping the future of sports, and also by EHG Evolution Health Group. We have evolved, and finally, Campus Apartments. The student experience is built here. And now, with that, we're going to take you through some of the halftime highlights. It's going to be the three goals that happened, two by Yoni Sorokin and one by Matthew Radiofsky.
Yeah, that's the first goal by Sorokin. Just little flick of the head. Beautiful cross into the box. Sorokin just left completely unmarked by the Belgian defense. It happened not once, but twice. There's the second goal. That's just a beautiful header. Far right corner by Sorokin. He was the absolute star. And then got loose over the Belgian defense was Matthew Radiofsky, an excellent finish in the corner. And Michael Zavida, the Belgian goalkeeper, unable to come up with the save. And the U.S., an excellent first half. 3 goals, all 3 goals coming in the span of 15 minutes from the 27th minute to the 40th minute. So think here of Noah for the Americans. As Michael Erush said, you want to get out of this game in one piece, but you kind of want to put your foot on the throat of the Belgians, finish this game in the first 10-15 minutes. You think if you put one more goal in the back of the net, the Americans are feeling pretty good about securing 3 points in this Group A game.
And I'm already noticing Michael Erush making some adjustments here as we go to the second half. A couple of substitutions coming on. Number 16, Saul Moskowitz, the Sunnyvale, California native, is also on. And also Jacob Muchnick, as we've mentioned, he's the teammate of Alex Cades. He is also on the field now for the United States as well.
We got a big crowd, too, for the second half. Uruguay and Sweden are playing right after us in the second Group A match. And they are surrounding our broadcast booth and taking a look at the action. Obviously, a good scouting report for them. U.S. will play Uruguay next on Sunday morning, 9 a.m., back here at Jerusalem Park. And then U.S. and Sweden will close out Group A play before we go to the round of 16.
And it's very interesting, too, Griffin, because those games are back-to-back. One is on Sunday, as you mentioned, and the other one is on Monday.
All right, Michael Erush talked about that's going to be a whole different approach, probably going to use more subs. It's different than normal American soccer rules. Instead of 3 substitutions, you have 6 substitutions here in the Maccabi. Keep players a little bit light, I think in part because of how condensed that schedule is, playing back-to-back games. That's going to be very challenging for all these teams in Group A. We'll have that Sunday, Monday back-to-back. You don't see that very much typically in international football.
And just like in group play, if you're talking about the World Cup, if you're talking about Euros, the teams will be playing at the same time on Monday. It's a 9 a.m. kickoff for both teams. As we mentioned, we're here in Jerusalem Park. There are 2 fields, one right here, as we mentioned, and then the other one is literally right across the way. If you look on the monitor and then you look to the right, wish everybody could be here in person to view this scenic beauty that we have right here with this broadcast, but the other field, we can assure you, is on the right side as well.
That's the Australians against the Spanish. The Aussies lead 1-0 at halftime. 2 other open men's soccer games happening elsewhere here in Jerusalem. Canada leads Colombia 2-0 at the half, and Argentina and Mexico, that's a good matchup, are scoreless at the break. We've seen all of these teams at our hotel in the Ramada, Jerusalem. It's been so fun, Noah, to see so many athletes from all over the world, Jews from everywhere from Uruguay to Sweden to Hungary to Ukraine to Mexico, Canada, and beyond. Such great diversity in the hotel and at these Maccabi games.
And I think it's just really important to point out before we get started here in the second half how important that this Maccabi is. It's the outreach of Judaism through sport. And we all have that one commonality of being Jewish, being proud to be Jewish, and the opening ceremony tonight at Teddy Stadium in Jerusalem will tell the entire story of that and then some as well. As the second half is underway, Belgium also making a substitution as well. Jeremy Halfon is on number 17 for the Belgian team. So it's 3-0 here, United States on top of Belgium. Griffin, we talked a little bit about the United States. What does Belgium need to do to maybe get themselves back in and try to give themselves a chance here and make this game interesting?
You need a momentum boost and a fast start. I talked about for the Belgians, they needed that in the first half, didn't get it. You got to have it here in the second half, get an early goal. Give yourself some belief that you can come back and earn at least 1 point here at Jerusalem Park.
Nadav Zarmi on the ball for the United States. Back over to Noah Sonnenstein. Sonnenstein plays it to Travis Van Brewer, who has had himself a couple of assists in this matchup. Van Brewer now actually on the ball. Apologies for that. The ball is taken over by Belgium, but nobody home on the counter. It's Emery Rappaport playing on that right side. Nadav Zarmi to Sorokin, the twice goal scorer in the first half. Sorokin's pass gets into the Belgium zone for Rappaport. Rappaport makes a man miss. And now it's back for Rappaport. Rappaport making the run down. Now he's in the box. Rappaport still on the ball, and finally the Belgium defense is there to stop that Rappaport run.
That's a really nice run by the senior defender out of Pacific University in Stockton, California. Didn't have any room to do anything in the box, but the Americans, once again, the aggressors here to start this second half, trying to expand this 3-0 lead.
Belgium back on the ball, on the near touchline. Ball was tried to play through to Esposito. Tries to make the run for it, and Nadav Zarmi is getting his possession in the opposing box. Van Brewer tries to clear it. Sorokin couldn't get a header on it. And now it's back up in front of us here at midfield. Sorokin wins the ball back. He's got Moskowitz running down and also Muchnik as well, but Belgium gets back on the attack. And it's going to be a throw-in for Belgium, who, by the way, the last time that they were at Maccabi, 2017, they went to the semifinals.
Americans won gold in 2017, 2013 as well, so back-to-back gold medalists. Did not win in 2005 or 2009, took silver both of those years.
And another substitution for Belgium, Elia Platt is going to throw the ball in. Ball cleared away. Mizrahi back over to Yahalom. Both captains still in there for the United States. And a very weak effort by Scott Lichtenstein. Belgium concede that one. It's going to be United States possession.
And it's funny, we talked about Josh Levine being our player to watch, but he has not been tested at all. No shots on goal yet for the Belgians. He's snared a few that have come near his grasp, but I believe if you're the official scorer, no shots actually on goal.
Van Brewer back up top to Zarmi. Long ball. Doesn't make it, and it's smothered by Michael Zedvier, the Belgium goalkeeper.
He made that really good save early, but Michael Erosh talked about it. They got a couple saves on goal early, and it was a little bit of a cagey first 20 minutes, but it gave the Americans some confidence. They dominated possession, and then getting those 3 goals in rapid succession to take a stranglehold on this Group A opening matchup.
Sonnenstein's long ball is over to Muchnik. Muchnik retreats back, and it's Rappaport. Rappaport back to Zarmi. Zarmi makes the Belgian defender miss. That's Matan Yarrow. Sorokin Tries to weave his way through. Now plays the ball up top and nobody home for the United States in an easy collection for Michael Zedvier. Belgium trying to run a counter, but instead it's Yahalom who denies Boris Amori. Tehena tries to clear, and he gets a hold of Mizrahi, so number 8 fouls number 8 on the opposing team. The United States will take it from just beyond midfield.
In that previous possession, Yoni Sorokin, who's been receiving all the headers, was trying to give one, had some miscommunication here with Muchnik. You see they were pointing to each other. It's very interesting to see the guy who has been the star for the United States Open team starting to dish out the assist, or at least trying to.
Nice backheel flick, and it goes to Saul, and he doesn't capitalize on the chance. Oh my goodness, would that have been a highlight reel goal if Saul had run and scored that one.
Yeah, put that on SportsCenter top 10 if you finish, but not able to find the touch. Oh.
Taking a look at the 1-2 with Moskowitz and Saul, two Bay Area guys trying to connect, and it doesn't come to fruition.
And to jump in there, guys, Bodie Saul has been in the mix in almost every single possession. Even though Sorokin's been the one netting in the goals, he's been a part of it.
Thanks, Zach. Yahalom back over to Saul, and it's lost possession for the United States, but regained by Mizrahi.
It's just a beautiful back heel by Moskowitz, who is the only player on this American squad, has not played college ball in the States. He's over in England at the I2I Academy, and you think about the English, they often are a little bit cheeky, but a little bit creative with their football, and we saw that there from Moskowitz, who's a talented midfielder, as you said, originally out of the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, and by the way, every single person I've met from Great Britain so far has been very nice. That header goes...
I was saying in terms of soccer style, not in terms of their personality.
Well, you never know. It's open for interpretation. Zedvier is the one who collects it for Belgium, and he tries to wait to see what kind of formation that his teammates will run through.
I think everyone's been really friendly. I think you talk about that common bond with everyone being Jewish at this Maccabi, 40,000 athletes in attendance. Is Belgium able to keep it in?
Yep, Levine shanked that one, so it'll be a Belgian throw in the opposing zone.
It's a common thread, and there's players from all over the world, and you want to get to know each other, and when you're a part of the tribe, it makes a big difference. And the elevator, on the buses, and the dining hall, there's been many interactions with players across the country, and obviously the hardest part is the language barrier, but I've seen, different players from different countries, they speak English or French.
United States with numbers, and it's Saul once again here in the 54th minute, and that one goes right of the post.
Really
That's that fast break offense that Coach Erush was talking about. In order to get the ball ahead, catch their defense by surprise, and plays like that keep the Belgians on their toes.
Saul, another good run. He's been very active, especially to start this second half. And if we pick a candidate to add another one to the Americans, he'd be at the top of the list.
Absolutely, Griffin. Zarmi's pass doesn't find one of his teammates. Moskowitz trying to win the ball back, but instead it's Belgium who take possession on the near touchline. Esposito, and it's going to be a Belgium throw. It'll be Elliot Platt to do the honors for the Belgian team. As we mentioned, coached by Alan Yeager, who, by the way, if you want to talk about small worlds, Jeff Jacobs, who is the co-chair of this United States team, is actually Alan Yeager's cousin. So just another fun fact to throw out there as we continue here in the second half. Saul Moskowitz, and he scores, puts it into the left post, and he curves it in, and that's 4 for the United States. First for Dor Moskowitz, and the United States piling it on here. It's an avalanche of goals. It's 4-0 to the Stars and Stripes.
That might be the close of the casket for the U.S. on 3 points. What a beautiful run by Saul. Finds Moskowitz at the top of the 18, and the put away by the young man from the Bay Area, native of Tel Aviv. What a big goal for the U.S. Talk about Belgium that needed a spark. Well, the U.S. just killed it there. That might have been the prettiest goal of the match for the U.S., and they really built up to that one. Built it from the back, moved through the midfield in the finish. Those are the goals you love to see if you're head coach Michael Erush. It's not a fluke. It's not off a set piece or just a lucky long ball, Belgium falling asleep. That was tactical precision by the Americans, leading to a good goal.
Zach, what did you see down there on the sideline?
Well, it's more so right before that. Coach Erush took a bunch of his players off the bench, started getting them warmed up, and right as that happened, Saul Moskowitz not netting in that goal. The United States, Griffin, as you said, trying to close the door on this Belgian team and start looking towards Uruguay.
We're taking a look here at the replay with Saul making some good moves in the box and Moskowitz being left open, and he hits it from just about 8 yards out, puts it in. The United States now with 4 goals in this opening match here at the 2022 Maccabi.
The biggest concern for the U.S. was where were their goals going to come from. It has not been a problem, at least today. Sorokin set the tone. See, Moskowitz, I think, is another candidate, really one of the youngest players on this roster, but really, really talented. Obviously training in England with some of the best in the world. And even the defender, Radionski, has put one in the back of the net. And touch wasn't great those first 20 minutes, but since then, Americans have converted on almost all of their good chances.
And Moskowitz, too, you mentioned he's one of the younger players on the team, but he actually has experience competing in the last Maccabi, as we'll wait on that fact, as Mizrahi's out in front. Mizrahi over to Moskowitz, and he scores, and it's a brace for Dor Moskowitz. Another beautiful counterattack for the United States. A tap-in goal for Moskowitz. He's got 2 on the match. The United States with 5. And this one, Griffin, very early in the second half, looks like it's going to be a runaway for the United States.
Yeah, the legs have grown tired for the Belgians, and the depth big, too, for the Americans. Moskowitz didn't play in the first half. You see him charging down the pitch. And the goalkeeper, Michael Zavita, for Belgium, just clearly lost. Easy 1-2 pass, easy put away. Clinical stuff from the Americans, back-to-back goals. And the U.S. comfortably in front.
Zach, was there anything different that you saw on the field from that goal?
It's more so pointing out the fact that this United States team likes to score in bunches. Yoni scored 2 goals. Dor scored 2 goals. Very impressive to see how they've kind of found their key players and are running the offense through them.
And it's just going to show that teamwork makes the dream work. Not to sound too cliche, but like Zach mentioned at the top, Michael Erush talked to us, and he said that this is one of the tightest-knit groups of soccer players that he's ever had the pleasure to coach. And right now, they're making a very good first impression for the team.
And to go off of that, this team is not selfish. I've never seen a team pass this much and also this connected with each other, trying to get each other into the net. And the celebrations, man, they've loved to embrace so far.
And the 4-3-3 really is working in this formation for Coach Erush's team. The back line of Nadav and Noah Sonnenstein and Josh Levine, of course, they've been really shutting the door for the United States here on the defense and keeping this clean sheet, which is what Coach Erush was talking about. Yahalom tries to get himself on the score sheet, and he's not able to do so as he had that first attempt blocked. Belgium back on the ball now. And it's going to go out for, looks like a corner kick for the United States, because I don't see any players moving back towards the other direction.
Also, from our vantage point, it seems as if Jack Green has started to warm up a little bit. This is United States of America. Maccabi USA, we have representatives from all over. Jack Green is the only athlete from the state of Alaska. He's had a hike to get here all the way to Jerusalem, and it seems as if he might be making his debut for Maccabi USA's open team.
And Bodie Saul is going to be the one who takes the corner kick for the United States. And we have another substitution. It's going to be Max Yanukev. He's going to come into the game now for the United States, get some run in here in the 60th minute. The midfielder, 6 feet, from North Hollywood, California, attended California University, Northridge. And he also has an uncle who played in the Maccabi in 1981.
No shortage of depth on this American squad. 20 active players for today, so plenty of opportunities for substitutions for Michael Erush and a chance for some of the stars now to take a rest as they get ready for Uruguay on Sunday. Obviously a big couple days ahead with opening ceremonies for Shabbat for a lot of these players on Israel, Friday night into Saturday, and then back to action with back-to-back matches Sunday and Monday for this open men's soccer team.
Yep, just another uniqueness for this 2022 Maccabi. No event scheduled between Friday night and Saturday night. And then next week, we'll actually have the gold medal men's open hockey game. That's the only thing that's going on Saturday night. It's such a party. I've heard everything about it. People line up hours before, and the only way that you can get in is if there's rabbis who are guarding the door, and then when they say that Havdalah is over, everybody can just flow into the arena, Pace Arena. You talked about it, Griffin. We were there yesterday. State of the art. It's hosting the men's and women's hockey finals. It's just going to be a fantastic time.
The rabbis are good security here. Who needs a security team when they take care of everything? But you're right, the Pace Arena, really, really beautiful facility.
Yep, in the Eisenberg Tennis Center. We were also there yesterday, me, Zach, and Griffin. They're all within walking distance of each other. And then Teddy Stadium just shining out. It's going to be an incredible experience here in these next few hours. It's amazing to think. We started this match at 8:30 a.m., and the opening ceremony isn't until 7 p.m. tonight, or at least doesn't start until 7 p.m.
Long day. It's going to be a long opening ceremony, and obviously a lot of waiting for all these players. It's going to be a lot of security to go through. No rabbis, I don't think, in the security today.
I don't believe so, but we can confirm once we get there.
There will be Secret Service. I can confirm that with President Joe Biden expected to be in attendance tonight. But obviously have to give a big shout-out to all the behind-the-scenes team members at this Maccabi Games, from the bus drivers to the cooks. I mean, everyone does such a great job.
And when we spoke to Coach Erush in the beginning of the week, we talked about that opening ceremony and what it's going to mean for his team to walk in it. He said he was very excited, but he said he'd be more excited if they came away with a win. Right now, they're on that way.
A little bit more of a party. It would have been more of a funeral if they had lost today. Long time to wait.
Well, we don't have to go down that road, Griffin, because right now it's the United States out in front of Belgium, 5-0, 63rd minute here in this second half. I believe because we got a hydration break in the first half, there will be a same in the second half as well. So look around the 75th minute for there to be a stoppage in the action. Belgium trying to make the most of their opportunities here on the ball. And it's out for a United States throw. And it looks like it's going to be Belgium possession here. They try to get it in quickly. Esposito throwing it back to his teammate. And it's Elliot Platt who will once again do the honors of throwing in the ball for the Belgium team. Jeremy Halfon right in front of us with Saul and Rappaport defending. And it's going to be Belgium's possession once again.
Americans under a half hour to earning 3 points. I don't know if it classifies as revenge, but
as we have a counterattack here with Moskowitz, who's scored 2 here in this second half. Plays it back to Sorokin, who's trying for a hat trick, and he gets his hat trick. Beautiful shot in the box. Sorokin, 3rd goal of the game, 6th for the United States, and the United States is well on their way to winning this first opening round matchup in the Maccabi against Belgium. They have a 6-0 lead, and it's Sorokin who is able to finish for his 3rd goal of the match.
Moskowitz creating again. He'll get an assist along with his 2 goals. And you've certainly found the 2 stars right now offensively for this American squad. Sorokin and Moskowitz doing all sorts of creating as the day's going to end for Yoni Sorokin. What a morning for him to start his Maccabi.
Just an incredible effort all around. Seems like the weight has been lifted off of the American shoulders here to begin play at the Maccabi. We mentioned it off the top. They were so laser focused. So many of the athletes were just listening to their own music. They weren't trying to be too loose. They were trying to be very business model as usual. And it's gone to show that the counteraction with Belgium playing very loose did not work in their favor today. It's the United States who has taken advantage of that business-like approach.
It was a calm, quiet confidence by the Americans this morning, and it was a little awkward, too. I was in the elevator with a couple Belgian players and Josh Levine, and they were certainly a little bit uncomfortable, and the Belgians were actually joking a little bit with Levine, saying, hey, you're our guy, and Levine had his AirPods in and was mostly trying to ignore them, and it was similar on the bus. You don't typically see opposing teams ride on the bus, but in the Maccabi spirit, everyone Jewish, teams rode on the bus, but the Americans were paying no attention to the Belgians, focused on themselves, and that has paid off today.
And it's important to know who checked in for Sorokin. It's going to be Itai Rabinovich. He's a defender, 5'11" senior from Cupertino, California, UC Santa Cruz. He is in the game so far for the United States.
The Banana Slug in Israel.
And he's also, it's good to mention this, he played at the Dianza Force Academy with Jacob Mucknick and also with Bodie Saul. So those three have familiarity with each other, all around the same age, all played in the same academy.
But they do not have the best mascot in college sports.
Would that go to the Hoosiers?
No, that goes to the Banana Slugs.
Oh, the Banana Slugs. Back now comes the United States once again, and it's loose in front, and nothing doing on that attack for the Americans. I would just like to throw out the fact that I'm an Arizona State alum, and Sparky the Sun Devil is one of the best mascots.
Right, but in terms of a team name, can you beat the Banana Slug? I don't believe UC Santa Cruz actually has a real dressed-up mascot, though there's no shortage of Banana Slugs up in the hills up near Santa Cruz in the south side of the San Francisco Bay Area.
Zach, you want to weigh in on this conversation?
If we want to talk about best mascots, we're going to talk about my mascot that I share in common with the goalkeeper, Josh Levine. The Nittany Lions actually in the Hall of Fame. Those Penn State Nittany Lions, especially the people wearing that costume, man, they are Hall of Famers in and of themselves because that costume gets hot.
I'm sensing some extreme bias right now on this broadcast in terms of who's the best mascot.
It's also a fact. We talk about facts. This U.S. team is winning 6-0. That's a fact. The Nittany Lions the best mascot. That's a fact.
As we were diving deep into the mascot debate of 2022, Michael Barron had a shot on goal for the Belgian team. It went well over the bar, and the United States is back now on possession. Yanukev over to Rappaport, who's played all the minutes here in this football game. Sonnenstein the same as well. Erush electing to stick with his back four long periods of time, especially because, like Griffin had mentioned earlier in the broadcast, they have not necessarily been tested a whole lot, so the energy is still boundless. It'll be interesting to see going forward if Erush decides to use that 4-3-3 formation against the other opponents, Uruguay and Sweden, on Sunday and Monday. Rappaport playing it back now to Rabinovich. And it's Sonnenstein once again on the ball for the United States. Sonnenstein had a very interesting story as well. He used his COVID year to return to UC San Diego. And when he's done playing soccer, he wants to run a Fortune 500 company. Just think about the expectations that elects as an athlete. You think about the training that you have to go through every single day and the mentality that you have to go through. And then when everything comes down for your athletic career, you can go and run a Fortune 500 company. High aspirations, it seems like he'll get it done.
Well, the good news is you've dealt with the pressure on the field, and it's, similar to being in the boardroom. You got a lot of people looking at you. You got to perform, got to get your sleep and rest, and then just execute. You prepare, and then you're ready to go. So I think being an athlete definitely helps with working in the business world. Not easy. I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm not up for that kind of pressure.
Well, that's why we're calling the game as opposed to being on the pitch here. Rappaport plays the ball back now. Back over into the right-hand side. Jonathan Seidman has also checked in for the United States, number 17. He's a rising sophomore at Yale. And we asked him just to name a fun fact about himself. He's got two brothers who are also competing in Maccabi. He's got his brother William, who's also going to be his teammate at Yale for the 2022 season. He's playing on the open futsal team will have a broadcast for that. And then his brother Andrew is on the U18 soccer team. So soccer runs very, very through on the Seidman family.
U.S. played yesterday, U18 boys, and demolished Germany. In fact, almost the same scores here, 5-0. They got the win over the Germans. So good start for the U18 boys squad as well. And the Open women's team will open their Maccabia tomorrow morning, their first match.
Rappaport plays it through now to Rabinovich. Rabinovich tries to find his teammate, and that goal will definitely not count because there was an apparent handball in the box.
Women will face Brazil tomorrow here in Jerusalem. Actually, 4 p.m. is the start time for the American women.
That was Andrew Goldsmith, by the way, who went free in the box and scored the goal that was called back.
A lot of high expectations for a lot of these American teams. Was talking with a couple of the women on the open soccer team, and they said, hey, let's all win goal. Let's have every single team sweep the goal for the Americans. It's going to be pretty hard to do, but a lot of confidence in this second largest delegation at the games, only behind Israel.
Seidman trying to play the 1-2, and it's back over to Sonen's team.
But to jump in there, guys, this United States team is back-to-back gold medalists. They know what winning is like, and when we spoke to Coach Erush, he said that, yes, the goal is to win, but it's also to have an amazing experience, and this team did that on a program we call Israel Connect, traveling all across Israel for the first week of being here, traveling to places like Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and really taking the sights and sounds. It makes this more than just a soccer-friendly against Belgium. It makes it more of an experience and emotional attachment to the Holy Land.
And Zach, I see what you did there by saying Erush's goal. No pun intended, of course. Seidman tries to find his teammate, and it's going to be an offsides on Jacob Muchnick. Go ahead, Griffin.
It was really cool the first week being in Israel for all of these teams. Got to stay on kibbutzes. One in Shafayim, that's where we were. Another in Rananas. We're going to have a hydration break here with just under about 18 minutes left to play in the U.S. looking to close out 3 points to open up this Maccabia, and had over 1,000 U.S. athletes traveling around the country, getting to explore their Jewish identity in the Holy Land. And it's kind of tough. Michael Erush talked about kind of the mentality switch to touring and exploring, to have to get into that competitive mindset. But in some ways, it might be advantageous to the American athletes, because for a lot of these other teams, they showed up just on Tuesday. They're dealing with jet lag, quick adjustments. And for most of the American teams, they've gotten to know their teammates. They've built that chemistry. They've adjusted to the time change, to the heat, and they're ready to go. But obviously, it's a different mindset, a different approach to sleeping and nutrition when you go from touring around almost like you're on vacation to participating in an international sporting event.
As I mentioned in the Open, the Belgium national team here, the Belgium Open team, they have 6 returning members. Speaking of that familiarity, as you were just talking about, Griffin, on the United States side, the Belgium side, even though they are down 6-0 currently, Coach Yeager met his team halfway out towards the center line and is still coaching them. He is not going to go down to it without a fight. When we spoke with him earlier in the week, we know he's a man that prides himself off of pushing to the end, and that's exactly what he's hoping for here with his team. As we said in the Open, embracing the unknown. It's not known that it was going to happen here.
And just taking a look here at the second half goals that were produced by the United States, 2 of them by Saul Moskowitz, the Bay Area native, and Sorokin getting his 3rd goal as well.
And the hat trick for Sorokin. Moskowitz, I mean, really good finisher with the right foot. And you got to give credit to Bodie Saul. He had 2 of these assists. It's really at the center of the offense there. The assist by Mizrahi and the put away by Moskowitz. U.S. faster, more connected. The chemistry very apparent. As you see the hat trick secured here by certainly might be the star of this American team, Yoni Sorokin. What finish there, moving to your right and then shooting to your left around the Jerusalem, or around the, as we see Jerusalem, around the Belgian defender. What a beautiful sight we are here at Jerusalem Park in the valley in this beautiful, beautiful city.
Yep, we're here in the northwestern edge of this fantastic holy city was 70 degrees at kickoff, like you mentioned, just cloud cover all around to open the morning. It was just very weird because, as you mentioned, we were staying on Shefraim in a coastal part of the state of Israel, and everything about the humidity, I'll admit it got to me when we were staying that first week, but having to be in Jerusalem now, it's been such a change in the weather. It kind of reminds me of home, me being from Los Angeles.
It's a little bit cooler, less humidity, more acclimated, probably a lot of both of these teams are, to playing in just dry heat.
Another chance for the United States to go out in front, and it's a goal. It's put in the 74th minute by Jacob Muchnick, the Penn player, and he gets it to go, and that's 7 now for the United States. And it's just ironic, too, because Muchnick played 7 years in the LA Galaxy Academy, and he didn't have a chance to participate, as we'd mentioned, because he was an Ivy League player. But this time, he's able to get on the board. It's now 7 goals for the United States against Belgium, and they've still kept a clean sheet, much to the likeness of Coach Rush.
Got to keep the foot on the gas pedal, and the Americans have done that in the second half. Obviously, goal differential could be important when it comes down to advancing into the round of 16. And as well, you want to build that confidence, more chemistry with some of your bench guys. You never know when you're going to need them.
As mentioned, the United States, the 2-time defending Maccabi Open men's soccer champions, and they're showing their title defense very well here early on in this Group A matchup. As mentioned, Sweden and Uruguay rounding out the group. The United States will take on Uruguay in their next matchup on Sunday, and then they'll take on Sweden back-to-back on Monday morning. Rappaport playing it back to Levine.
Circle back to a point I was making before a goal, Noah, that there's a lazy misplay by the Americans. This is today, 8 years ago, Belgium and the U.S. matched up in the World Cup in the round of 16. I'm not sure you'd call it revenge for the Americans' win today, obviously on a smaller stage, but a nice little kind of storybook closure to that game 8 years ago, the last time the U.S. has played in a World Cup. That was Salvador, Brazil, and that you remember watching that match, Noah. What an incredible match that was. Belgium won 2-1. All 3 goals were scored in extra time. Tim Howard had one of the best performances, American goalkeeper, of any keeper in World Cup history. He made 16 saves, which is still the record for most goals or most saves, I should say, by a goalkeeper in World Cup history. And the Americans were so close to winning that match a couple times. Chris Wondolowski, San Jose Earthquake player in the MLS, almost won things for the Americans, but the Belgians ended up with the win and then played Argentina and bowed out in the quarterfinals in the next round.
Yep. Germany went on to win that World Cup against Argentina, and it's just ironic because that game, as you mentioned, played in Brazil. Argentina, of course, a major rival of Brazil, so a lot weighing on that matchup as well.
That was the 7-0 Brazil lost to Germany, wasn't it?
7-1.
7-1.
Yep.
Okay, I forgot to give them one. I know I talked to a couple of Brazilians after that, and they could barely talk.
Corner kick for the United States, and nothing comes of it. Here in the 77th minute. Yep, Zach, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. I want to point out a really heartwarming moment actually that happened during the water break. Itai Rabinovich, who's a Tel Aviv native, I guess has family over because he came close to our broadcast booth, waved goodbye, blew a couple kisses to his family that's sitting here. So even though we have Yoni Sorokin, who is a Jerusalem native as well, he's from Jerusalem, really great to see a Tel Aviv native as well in Itai Rabinovich.
And when we asked Sorokin what his fun fact was, because we went around asking every single soccer player on the United States what their fun fact was, Sorokin said point blank, my favorite soccer player is Itai Rabinovich. So it just goes to show, once again, what Coach Erush has been projecting, that this is the closest knit group that he's ever coached, and it's going to show here, hopefully in these next couple of matches as well. This is just the start for the United States to defend their gold medal here at the Maccabi.
You have 3 guys born in Israel on this American squad, so a couple guys with a little more familiar with the country. And I know there's some other guys we talked to that have never been in Israel, even out of the country before. So It's a new experience for some, and for others, they're right back at home.
We've also got experience from players on the pitch who have previously appeared in Maccabi. Moskowitz, as I was trying to say before he ended up scoring that second goal, he competed in the last Maccabi in 2017, and then he also competed as a youth soccer player in the 14th Pan American Maccabi Games that was in 2019. And as mentioned, born in Tel Aviv, one of those three players who hails from the state of Israel originally. Nadav Zarmi. Fun fact about him, he was actually a jiu-jitsu champion in the 8th grade, going to school in Stamford, Connecticut, and now plays his ball at Fairfield. He graduated. Seidman plays the header back towards Moskowitz, and the ball is won back by Belgium. Barron tries to play it to one of his teammates, but the United States comes out with it in the corner. Moskowitz looking for Rabinovich. Rabinovich back up top to Zarmi. Rabinovich again. Was trying to find his teammate Yanukev, and Belgium able to sneak that one out. It was De Gea who was able to come up with the possession. Now Belgium trying to run one of their lone counterattacks of this second half. While we have a minute, just want to remind our viewers that this match is brought to you by the Evolution Health Group. Evolution Health Group, we have evolved. Moskowitz back the other way for the United States. Had his teammate Muchnick out in front. Instead, it's Seidman. Back over to De Gea for Belgium, who tries to run with Levy. Esposito. And Belgium working it more towards the United States part of the field. Back out now towards midfield goes Sasha Regenberg, who came on as a second half substitute. Back on the ball again is Zarmi. Seidman playing a little 1-2. The United States trying to park the bus here as we near the 81st minute, as we just crossed it. Well in front now, the Americans out in front of Belgium 7-0.
Got to thank everyone that has made our first ever historic, as you said, Noah, Maccabi Media broadcast possible. We've got an incredible behind-the-scenes crew today helping out. They got here even earlier than us to this early 8:30 start.
What time did we get here?
They let us sleep in a little bit. We still got here at about 7:15 in the morning,
yep.
So it wasn't a sleep in for us either, for sure.
That's true. We can thank everybody who has been part of this. Our camera people, Dylan Manfree is our sideline camera. Evan Kamiko is right in front of us. Noam Watt also running a camera as well. Our executive producer and guru, Simon Rosenwasser. Neil Slotkin, our program coordinator. Mark Zumoff, the chair of Maccabi Media. These are the people that we just have incredible gratitude for, because they're the ones who are giving us the opportunity to broadcast these games. And we're going to be here throughout the entire Maccabi. We've got matchups in Netanya, we've got matchups in Haifa, and so many of our Maccabi Media personnel. There's 14 of us aspiring broadcasters who have been putting out great content throughout this first week and a half here in Israel. You can check us out at Maccabi USA on Twitter, on Instagram, and also on TikTok, where we are very much the happening on social media for the age range of, 14 to 25, 14 to 30.
Have you aged out of that age range, Noah?
Oh, without a doubt. I don't even have an Instagram.
Yeah, TikTok is where it's at. If you don't have a TikTok, it's time to get on there. We've got some great TikTok content. Lauren Rube does a great job running our social media team, and got all sorts of fun athlete interactions. And it's more than just dancing. If you don't know, there is more to TikTok than just dances. It's actually a lot of fun on there.
Although when we were at Shefraim, there were a ton of people that did TikTok dance videos. So it's not uncommon, but there's been some really good content. Another one of our students, Charlie Goldberg, had a chance to wrestle with parts of the wrestling team.
He didn't do very well.
No, he literally got carried out of the mat. So you can go check that out on Maccabi USA's TikTok, which has literally been started from the ground up and has done very well. Nice play there by Yanukev. Rabinovic tries to head it, and it goes just wide for Muchnick. Good run there by the United States here in this 83rd minute. Another attempt on target. Just another show of dominance for the United States, who are coming out with this 7-0 score as we take a look at the replay presented by Campus Apartments.
Campus Apartments, the student experience is built here. Big thanks to all our sponsors, too, that help make our broadcast possible as well.
Yep, 76 Capital, shaping the future of sports. And Evolution Health Group, we have evolved. Muchnick trying to win the ball in the box for the United States.
A lot of good energy from 6 subs that have come into the game for the U.S. Still pushing, still dominant control of possession. It's got to be about 70-30. Josh Levine, who's squatting on the other side of the pitch, trying to get his legs loose, has not been tested once today. He's had a very light day in goal for the U.S.
Nope, only a couple of saves for the Penn State 4-year letter soccer player. Went over to Fordham for his grad year and has taken control as one of the co-captains of this United States men's open soccer team. Levine, his dad Noah, played baseball at William & Mary, and when he was at Fordham, the team went 7-1-2, and he was also named co-captain there as well. So just a lot of leadership experience on this United States team. As the corner is taken by the United States, Andrew Goldsmith, the midfielder and defender from Princeton, New Jersey, a Vassar College soccer player, a rising senior, and that attempt does not come to fruition.
That 1 year Levine had at Fordham as a grad student was the COVID spring year in 2021. Won the A-10. They didn't lose a game in the regular season. Won both the A-10 regular season and tournament. And their only loss was the first round at the NCAA tournament, and it was to the team that went all the way to win the national championship, Marshall, who beat Indiana in the national championship game. And Levine and Fordham actually took them to overtime, so who knows if things had been a little bit different. Who knows what Fordham and Levine could have done, but it helps when you have a really positive track record and a goalkeeper that's very confident manning the net, and when the U.S. plays in some more competitive games, whether that's in the group play against Uruguay or Sweden or later on as we get into the knockout round, they're going to be very confident of the guy they have in between the pipes.
And just a key 3 points for the United States as well. A great way to start off this Maccabia, too, because every point is so hard to come by, especially in the group stage when you have 4 teams fighting for 2 positions to move into that knockout round. 86th minute here, United States 7, Belgium 0. Griffin, what are you most looking forward to about tonight with the opening ceremonies taking place at Teddy Stadium in Jerusalem? What is the one thing that you can think of?
I can only pick one?
You can only pick one.
I don't know if I can only pick one. Well, I think what everyone's told me and what I've heard from talking to a lot of athletes and coaches is, and nothing is more powerful than when the name of your country is called and you walk out to the cheers of thousands of people. The hair stands up on your neck is what I've been told. So I have to be really looking forward to being among the entire delegation and getting to walk out and hear the U.S.'s name called and getting cheered on by thousands of supporters, including the President of the United States. You can't beat that.
And the start of a very long day for us Maccabi media professionals. Again, Noah Friedman, Griffin Epstein, Zach Gershman is running our sideline today for this soccer broadcast. And again, just a very special thanks to everyone involved in today's live stream, the first in Maccabi USA history. We just hope that we can build from this, go from the ground up, and continue to have momentum as we get closer to some of the gold medal matches as well, which will be broadcast on our website and on YouTube, MaccabiUSA.com/Maccabi Media.
And our broadcasts continue tomorrow, 4 p.m. local time. That's cleared away by the Americans. 7 a.m. Eastern Time, as we're going to have the final whistle.
Yep, final whistle. The United States opens up its gold medal defense here at Maccabi with a 7-0 victory against the Belgians. As Griffin mentioned, the U18 men's basketball team for the United States is going to take on Mexico tomorrow.
It'll be Charlie Goldberg and Sam Austria on the call. Same link right here, so that's going to be a fun one, and that's a beautiful facility up in Haifa. So I hope people can join that then. And then we've got another basketball broadcast in Netanya on Sunday. So the content is coming fast and furious for the next 2 weeks, and this was a great way to start.
Exactly. Griffin, before we end this live stream and go to our final thoughts, what are some of the things that you took away from the 7-0 victory that the United States just had against Belgium?
I think there was some uncertainty, Noah, whether this U.S. team was as strong as the 2013 and 2017 teams that won gold medals. I think we got a resounding answer that the U.S. is still the favorite in this tournament. A 7-0 victory over a Belgium team that you remember in 2019 at the European Championships went to the semis. This is not a slouch of a team in Belgium, and the U.S. just absolutely dominated this match from start to finish. It really felt once they found their footing after the 20th minute, it was goal after goal. And there was some worry about the offense. Yoni Sorokin and Saul Moskowitz both had really good finishing touches. The defense was absolutely dominant. Belgium really never had any quality opportunities, and it just felt like American dominance from start to finish. As you look at again at some of the goals, that was the opener by Sorokin, and it felt like it really opened the floodgates for the Americans. Sorokin had that first goal, and it really was goals in bunches. It was that first goal in the 27th minute. Sorokin had a very similar-looking goal in the 35th minute to make it 2-0 as the Americans, you can hear the clapping, are coming over to cheer on their supporters. And then the third goal really felt like it put things away. That was Matthew Rediofsky, the defender, who got his own. It made it 3-0 at the half, and the U.S. just kept it on going in the second half. Saul Moskowitz had a brace, one of the youngest players, but I wouldn't be surprised if he starts getting some start from Michael Irish. Came off the bench today to score the brace, but he had two really good finishes, and that 4-0 goal pretty much sent an end to this game, and an American dominating victory.
Yep, this game was highlighted by the hat trick from Sorokin, the brace from Moskowitz. People who don't normally score, they were getting into the action today. It was one of the main worries that head coach Michael Irish had, and when we spoke with him, we were just wondering how this 4-3-3 would play out, and it just goes to show that the three people in the midfield, the three strikers, it doesn't matter who is on the ball, they were able to come away with it, and then also the top four, the defenders, those guys held it down. They were able to get a lot of pressure on that Belgium attack, like you mentioned, just not even getting quality opportunities as well. So, in any case, it's been quite the matchup here as the United States once again defeating Belgium 7-0. Griffin, we've basically squeezed the juice out of the orange here. Is there anything else that you can think of off the top of your head that kind of stood out to you? Names that maybe we didn't mention as much? Players that we didn't mention as much?
Bodie Saul, I think, is another name to stand out. Yep. Didn't score goals, but I thought he was a really good offensive creator, especially in the second half. So I would pick him as a player that played impressive as well. But the depth is clear. You got 6 guys that came off the bench. They played very well in the second half. And the depth is going to serve them well with the busy schedule. Obviously, you have back-to-back days with games, Sweden and Uruguay, 2 very good teams who are going to play right after us here at Jerusalem Park. So wouldn't be surprised if some of the Americans stick around to get a little scouting report before they get ready to take on Uruguay 9 a.m. on Sunday, and then the next morning against Sweden. So a busy schedule for the U.S. Open men's soccer team, and certainly a lot of anticipation. The expectations will only grow after this good performance, but you know the Americans, that's just the way they want it.
And look at this. This is literally what the Maccabi is all about, because we have the Belgians and the United States. They're taking pictures with each other together, signifying this moment to the start of the 2022 Maccabi. It's just an amazing show of sportsmanship, an amazing show of outreach in Judaism, and it's just been an incredible morning. Let's just say that first and foremost. We're going to take a quick break and come right back with Zach Gershman interviewing our player of the game. We'll take a quick break and come right back with Zach. Well, we have our player of the game presented by 76 Capital, Zach Gershman, standing by with the hat trick goal scorer, Yoni Sorokin.
Yoni, in your hometown of Jerusalem, 3 goals. How awesome is this?
Yeah, it's a dream, you know. I'm just enjoying the moment. Proud to wear those uniforms, and yeah, enjoying the moment.
What does it mean to be wearing the United States uniform?
I mean, still getting used to it, you know, as an Israeli, but just really enjoying like the teammates and the camaraderie, and we have an amazing group of people. So yeah.
Coach said that this is the tightest group of brothers he's seen. Why do you think that is?
Everybody just came together for one reason. We go for the gold, and we just really having really tight group. Everybody's friendly, everybody's nice. We've been for a week already together. Traveled Israel, enjoyed each other, and yeah.
3 goals for you, 2 in the first half, 1 in the second. Coach said that he prides himself off of the organized blue-collar defense, but the offense, especially for you, seemed to be working. What was the strategy trying to get into the box?
Yeah, I mean, I played as a 10. Usually I play as a 6, a little bit more behind, and I just the coach asked me to get in from the second line, which I tried to do, and honestly, it's the first time I score a hat trick in my life, so pretty happy about it. You know, got lucky a little bit. So yeah.
A 7-0 win. What kind of stamp do you think this makes on the Open Division? What do you think this says about the United States Open team?
We're just. I mean, it's definitely set the tone. I think the other groups saw us play, and definitely it shows them that we're serious and we came here for business. And yeah, I mean, 7-0. It says a lot, you know.
Yoni Sorokin, our player of the game. Back to you guys at the booth.
Thanks so much, Zach. Our Campus Apartments player of the game, Yoni Sorokin. 3 goals. It's a really nice thing when he sheds light on the fact that this is the first time in any soccer match that he's ever played that he's scored 3 goals.
He's going to remember that one.
Absolutely. Griffin, final thoughts before we bid the United States and Belgium and world crowds goodbye.
A statement victory, I think, by the U.S. 7-0, how dominant they were. They're going to get Uruguay and Sweden's attention, who play next. And the U.S. well on their way to try to win a 3rd straight gold medal. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch it, and we'll have a lot of coverage with Maccabi Media of their quest for a 3rd straight gold.
Make sure to catch all the Maccabi Media coverage at Maccabi Media or at Maccabi USA on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Make sure to watch the opening ceremony tonight of the 2022 Maccabi, the 21st installment of these games, Teddy Stadium, Jerusalem. That'll be on our website as well. And then tomorrow's stream, as we mentioned, the U18 men's basketball team, boys basketball team in action, taking on Mexico. Charlie Goldberg, Sam Austri. Those are just 2 of the familiar faces that you're going to be seeing throughout our Maccabi Media campaign. For Zach Gershman, for Griffin Epstein, for our entire crew, led by Simon Rosenwasser, I'm Noah Friedman. Thanks so much for watching the broadcast. Again, the United States opening up its gold medal defense against Belgium with a 7-0 victory.